So we have built a risk register in the past, but is it actually working for you? Most project managers track risk, but they don't track efficiency. So today I'll be defining what efficiency is, and we'll build a very quick tool that we can add to this risk register that will tell you very quickly and very efficiently which risk mitigation strategies are useful for you. So RME, if you don't know what it is, it's a number between 0 and I suppose 100 that tells you how efficient your mitigation is. So if it's below 1, don't bother. But if it's above 1, then that might be worth implementing as a mitigation. Okay, let's build this. So I've pre-typed all the headings here, and then we can write down the formulas together. There are two parts here. So the part with the white background here is actually the input field, and I will walk you through them. And the second part is what I've grayed out. They are cells that will be calculated, so there will be formula in them. I think it might be easier if we use an example for this. So here I'm taking the example of power failure during a migration of data, for instance. And then if there is a power failure, let's say you live in an area where there are frequent power failures, then the budget will be impacted as you need to restart the migration, and that will come at a cost, but also will cause delays. And of note, here I have impact and likelihood. We will find the value component of this. So when we say impact is measured here, that means that it's obviously quite high, and likelihood possible, that it's a middle range, if you like. So this is something that we'll need to quantify here. This is why we have those. So you need to make sure that the dollar impact and the impact here label, if you like, are consistent. So this is for you to do. So let's work through all the cells one by one. So the first one, the dollar impact, if this occurs, so that's something for you to work out. So for instance, here I put 50,000. If the migration fails, the delays and the cost maybe to rent equipment will increase. So there will be, let's say, a $50,000 impact. So the likelihood, I think we had possible. So possible for me, it's around 30%. So here you put 30%, and this is a percentage cell here. The mitigation cost, let's say you want to buy a power generator, okay, a manual one that you can just plug in, and you plug your servers into this. We're not talking about the cloud here, obviously, so just bear with me for this example. Let's say you need to buy a power generator, and it will cost you, let's say, I'm just going to put a different number here. I'm going to put $8,000. Once you have the power generator, what is the revised probability? So you have this in place, you bought it, and let's say with this, what is the probability that you will have issues during the migration with the powers? So it's never really zero, so I just want to put 5% here. So now we've left with cells that need to be calculated. So the expected value of risk, so this is the dollar impact times the probability. So this is where I suppose if you, the probability is a bit of a vague science for me, that, the expected value of risk, they multiply the likelihood with the dollar impact. That's how it's done. Now the residual the residual risk, if I can say it properly, it's a new EV, the new expected value. So this is what you do. You take still the 50,000, don't take the migration cost, still take the 50,000 and multiply that by the revised probability. Okay, so failure before 15,000, now the revised is 2,500. So what is the risk reduction? The risk reduction is required to calculate the RME. So it's easy. So you have 15,000 minus 2,500. So you've reduced the risk by 12,500. That's quite a revision, I suppose. So to calculate the RME, the risk mitigation efficiency, the number that we want, what you do is you take the risk reduction and you divide it by the mitigation cost. So here that gives us a number of 1.6. So that's an indication that it could be worthwhile It has to be above 1. If it's below 1, then it's probably not worthwhile, but obviously those are just guidelines. I think 1, 2, 3 is okay. If you start to have numbers like 10 and above, that means there's something wrong in your calculations, or that there is something wrong in your evaluation, I should say, instead. So this number needs to be discussed with your team. If this doesn't work, if your executive management, whoever, doesn't really understand RMA, it might be easier for you to run through those numbers. Okay, we have $50,000 impact with 30% probability. Okay, we could spend 8,000 and that would reduce the risk to 5,000. All the rest for me, it's multiplying numbers with probability. It's not very intuitive, depending on which business you're in. Some business, yes, that will make sense, then use this. But otherwise, those might be sufficient. Okay, so this is it. This is it. The only, from an Excel point of view, the only change I would do is I will check, every time there's a division, make sure that you are checking if the number you are dividing by is not 0. So I'm just going to do this. If Q7 here not equal to 0, I'll calculate this. Otherwise, just going to put 0. Okay? That's it. And that's it. And obviously, if you have the other, before I go into the closing ceremony, you make sure you drag all these down, okay, to make sure this is applied to everywhere. Obviously, the numbers can be removed. Okay, so I just want to have a look at this validation tab here. So if you already have the template, or if you just build it, bear in mind that here I've added some numbers here. So it's just for guidelines, because impact description, impact rating 1, 2, 3, 6, 10, as mentioned before, major, depending on the business or the project, $1,000 might be insignificant. If you have a multi-million-dollar project, I mean, insignificant might be 20,000, for instance. Major would have to go 20 million. So here you put some guidelines. Those numbers are not being used. It's just so that the team is consistent when they put in a risk register. Exactly the same thing happens for the likelihood. This might be more standard across all projects, regardless of the number value. What do you consider as rare, likely, possible, and the likes? Because in this case, for instance, just to give you the example we're working on is possible. It's 30% max. So are we consistent with that? So we have put 30%. And what was the likelihood possible? Yeah. So this is some consistency, because obviously in some instances you will not be inputting all this. You will be sticking just to those here. So if you want to build it, I've just showed you how. Part 1 will show you how to build the risk register itself. If you don't have time, or if you can't be bothered and you just want to use it, bear in mind that, yes, there's a link to my shop in the description. And I think I have 3 versions of this, depending on your color preferences. So here, for instance, I will just put this into, to be consistent. It's not what I wanted to do. I want to put the white font, and I want to put the background deep like this. Take this, put it here, and here I will just put a lighter. So this way you differentiate what is being input and what is being calculated. Okay, so I hope that was very useful. It's always look good when you present a project that if you are being asked the question, what is the expected value, what is the risk mitigation efficiency, it's always good to know and to be able, yes, I know what it is. I didn't do it in this case because ABC, but at least you can show that you know what it is. Okay, hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.